Hey guys, it's Kevin on this review for Finding Carter, Season 2, Episode 4, Pretty When You Cry. Now, I want to stress off before I do this review that I've been defending this show. I've been defending it. I've been saying that I think this is a really good season. I've been liking the darker tone of the season. The more, how everyone's kind of been alone this season, kind of their own thing to do. I've really been enjoying that. But this episode then comes along. And while it seemed like the first few episodes were more about, moving past what Lori did, this episode's all about, let's just go against that. Let's not focus on Lori and all that. Let's focus on these kids' individual relationships and let's get them with someone. And if this is the direction that they want to take Finding Carter, I'm not going to watch the show anymore. And that's really sad because this became one of my favorite shows on TV. This was a show that was in my top 10 of last year. And I'm going to explain why it got so bad, honestly. First thing I want to say is that if you guys remember, in Awkward Season 4, I had the same problem. Basically, what happened is that they got rid of the, writers for the first 3 seasons. And the writers for the 4th season, when they first started, they didn't know what they were doing. Eventually, they got the hang of it in the second half of Season 4, which was great, by the way, I might add. But the first half was a complete mess, and this is the same thing. They have new writers. Now, the thing with Awkward, though, is that didn't really fall apart till the end of the first half of the season. And they very quickly fixed it with that great episode that got, Eva/Amber to leave. That really was the problem with the show. And they got rid of it very quickly, and then Awkward was back to a really good show. This is falling apart so fast, and they haven't introduced anyone that's ruined it. It's the storylines they've introduced. And it's not so much how the storylines are, it's how they're executing everything. Because Finding Carter was never a soap opera. Never. It was never a soap opera. It avoided these kind of cliches. And every character in this episode is an idiot, honestly. Every character makes some terrible, idiotic decision that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Some of them are completely out of character, and let's just get into it. Let's talk about Carter at first, because Carter and Crash. Now, basically, the big thing with Carter in this episode is that, first of all, we see that Carter meets up with this guy that was with Lori. Basically, she sent this old flame, it was this man she dated when Carter was younger, to talk to Carter on her behalf. And, of course, he explains that Lori has been deemed mentally stable and therefore faces massive jail time for Carter's kidnapping. He insists that even though Carter never saw it, Lori has struggled with mental issues for years, and she needs Carter to round up $2,000 to pay an expert witness to testify that she belongs in a hospital, not prison. Now let's think about this for a second. Think of everything that Carter's been through. Think of everything that's happened to Carter. Wouldn't you think she'd know that, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this? Maybe she's just, trying to get me to talk to her? Like, after everything that Lori has done, why would you feel bad for her all of a sudden? That is not Carter, because as we know at the end of last week's episode, Carter told Lori, I want nothing to do with you, stay the hell away from my family. That is the kind of Carter I want to see. Not, oh my god, I actually feel bad for her. Maybe something bad happened. Like, this is a naive Carter. Carter was never naive. Okay, Carter is a very layered character. Something that I love about Carter is that she, isn't cliched at all. She's very smart. She goes against decision. She's very independent. So she doesn't make the wisest decisions, but she's not an idiot. Here, she was a complete idiot. And it didn't make any sense to me. It just pissed me off here. And basically, it just really pissed me off. And basically, Elizabeth even tells her not to. And I'm just like, why wouldn't you listen to Elizabeth? Like, seriously, why wouldn't she listen to her? It seemed like after the first season, she was done with making all these bad decisions. But no, she's back to it. And it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make sense. And she's trying to get a job at Crash's uncle's garage to earn the money. And basically, Crash refuses to put in a good word. And, however, he comes through with $2,000 he's been saving for a rainy day and just gives it to her, along with a speech about loving the girl who cares about her loved ones. And here's the thing, though, with Crash. I don't care about Crash. Honestly, guys, I thought Crash was going to be a Season 1 character and that'd be it. I don't need him back for Season 2. The only reason Crash is back for Season 2 is because the audience responded well to Carter and Crash and they wanted to do something with their characters. I don't like this whole turned around Crash. I don't buy it one bit. I find it extremely superficial. It's extremely out of nowhere, especially because last week Carter said, I don't want anything to do with you. why is Crash all of a sudden being so nice to her? Why are they all of a sudden having these scenes together? It didn't make any sense to me, and that did not work at all. And so Carter hires the expert witness, and Lori squanders the entire meeting, and like I suspected, it was all a ploy to get Carter to come see her. Like, Carter, what did you think was going to happen here? Did you actually think that Lori was going to tell the truth? Did you actually think that Lori was, actually mentally unstable? Like, you can just see that it's all a plan to get Carter to come see her, and she wants to be put in a hospital so Carter can visit her more often. But she doesn't believe she's anything less than sane, and after the disastrous meeting, it just was like, what the hell? And then Carter gives her this whole speech of how, and this is what doesn't make sense to me. She's like, I know you have a problem. I'm sorry for you, but I can't help you. So why did you even do this for her? If you knew that she was crazy, why did you even try to help her? I don't understand. She gives her this whole great speech. It's a great scene, but it doesn't fit with the whole episode because why didn't you just tell her this in the first place? Carter should have called her up and been like, and given her this speech. And that's what season 1 Carter would have done. She wouldn't have gone to see Lori. She would have called up Lori and said, look, I know what you're doing, but you're crazy and I can't deal with you right now. I don't want you in this family. Because we know Lori makes Carter unstable, and how is Carter not unstable throughout all this? Because we know that she wants nothing to do with Lori. She doesn't want her in her life. She doesn't want her around. So why is she all of a sudden just playing into Lori's plans? And then we see that the guy, that Lori hired is like this, the one of Lori's old flames. He's hiding something. We don't know what he wants to do, but oh my god, it's just really stupid overall. He calls her up. He's like, you owe me. I'm gonna pay you for somehow. I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't care what he's talking about. It's stupid, it's cliched, and it's not what Fine Carter should be. And then out of nowhere, Carter just kisses Crash, who in this moment, they just pull back and ask if she's sure. Carter says no. She goes in for the kiss anyway, and it looks like they're getting back together. It all just feels rehashed. It really does, honestly. That whole plot just felt like been there, done that. We've seen this before. We've seen Carter and Crash together. Why would she take him back? Seriously, what got her to take him back? He could just be doing what he was doing before, just make himself seem like a good guy. I don't even think Crash is as good as everyone thinks he is right now. I think Crash still has problems. I think that Crash is still, in that position where they shouldn't really trust him. But for whatever reason, the writers are like, you know what, let's give Crash and Carter the romance of the season because doesn't everyone just love them? Nobody wanted Carter and Crash together. I looked on Twitter. The only people that want Carter and Crash together are after that scene. After that scene, they're like, oh, I kind of like them together. Well, that's because they forced you to like them. Okay, I don't like Carter and Crash together. I never wanted them together. I never wanted Crash on the show in the first place. Which really made me think something, that they have nothing to do with Carter now. Nothing. And Lori's probably just going to keep popping up in different places, and if they're going to keep doing this is going to get really annoying, honestly. It's going to get really annoying. I'm going to be really pissed off if they start to do this, and just, they should have kept Carter kidnapped for most of the season. That's what it should have been. It should have been Carter kidnapped from Lori. I thought episode 1 was a cool idea to get Carter away from that and, the beginning. But now I'm thinking maybe they should have just dragged it out because season 1 was so slow-paced. And season 2 is like rapid fire to the point where they have nothing to do now. Nothing to do with their character. I have no idea where we're taking Carter's storyline for the rest of the season. And I don't really care. So let's get to the one plot that could have been handled really well, but I think was just really shallow overall and really stupid. Let's talk about the beginning of the episode. The beginning of the episode, Bird, Gabe, and Ophi come over, and they're there to support Carter, but suddenly there's this FBI truck in Carter's house, and it's for Bird. And we know something to do with her parents, but here's the thing, they completely drop that at the end of the episode. And there's no explanation as to why they dropped it. There's nothing about it, again. It's not brought up. We don't understand what her parents did. And this is not how they should be handling it at all. They didn't just drop things last year. They gave Bird a really good arc this year. When I saw that scene, I'm like, they're finally gonna give Bird her centric episode. Bird's going to have a lot to do this episode. We're going to care more for her character. But no, they turned her into a slut in this episode. That's all they did. Now, yes, Bird was very flirty, but never like this. This was not the Bird that we all know. This is not the Bird that we all love. Because honestly, I loved Bird's character last year. Here she was really annoying because basically she's hanging out with Max and, you know, Taylor's really upset about it and everything, and Max is staying with Bird, and Taylor's obviously jealous about it, and she doesn't want Max right now, but yet she doesn't think he can have anyone else to have him either, and I understand why she's upset about it, but she told Max that she doesn't want to be with him, so why does she give a shit who he dates? Seriously. Plus, they're probably not even together, so she sees Bird flirting with Max at a party, so basically, Ophi asks out Taylor. I will say that I like Ophi and Taylor together. I think they have some good chemistry, but it's pretty clear that to Taylor, this is just, I'm going to make Max jealous. And I do like them together, but you know that Taylor doesn't really care about Ophi, and basically there's a lot of tension here, so basically in her fit of jealousy, she grabs Ophi, she takes him to another closet and makes out with him, and you get this feeling that Ophi really likes Taylor, but that she doesn't really love him. And you know that they're going to break up. You know this is not going to last. You know this is going to last a few episodes, and then her and Max are going to get back together. So this is completely pointless. It's pointless, it's stupid, and it's shallow, honestly. I like seeing Taylor be rebellious. I don't like seeing her just cheat on people. I don't like seeing Taylor just, like, go from guy to guy. That's not the Taylor that I want to see. I want to see an independent storyline with Taylor because they had some good stuff with Taylor last season. Now, yes, most of it did revolve around Max last season, but a lot of it did focus on, the thing I loved about season was that Max told her, don't be with me, don't focus on your relationship, focus on your own life. I thought that's what they were going to do here. I thought Ophi was going to help Taylor with things. If Taylor wants to move on to Ophi, she can. She doesn't have to worry about Max. For whatever reason, Max is the only thing she seems to care about right now, and that's not the Taylor that we all know. That's not Taylor. The Taylor that we saw last week, her drunk, her yelling at Carter, that's the independent Taylor that I like. I don't like seeing the Taylor that just cheats on guys and just goes with guys randomly. It's shallow. It's like they have nothing to do with her. It's like, we have Ophi on the show, we have Taylor on the show, let's get them together. What about Gabe? Taylor was chasing Gabe in the first season. Why not get Gabe with Taylor? Gabe has nothing to do this season. Gabe is there with Ophi and Bird, and he has nothing to do. I mean, he was chasing Carter last season. Taylor liked him. There are a lot of possibilities of what you could do with his character. Why Ophi? Seriously, why would you get her with Ophi? Because I just feel bad for the guy, really. You can't help but feel bad for Ophi. If she was with Gabe, someone she truly cared about, I can understand that. But we all know this is not going to last. We all know this is just some plot to get Max pissed, and if that's all they're trying to do, I don't like this at all. Really, it's stupid, and it's dumb. But thankfully, it's not the worst part of the episode. It's actually the only thing in the episode that I actually kind of liked, because they could have handled that storyline very well. It could have been handled more as, I can understand that, Taylor's a little bit jealous of Max and doesn't really want them hanging out together because she doesn't really trust Bird. But the episode just plays it off as, I don't want Max with anyone, and I want to be with him and no one else can have him. And yet, I don't want to be with him. That's really what it seemed like to me. They didn't play it off as Bird's bad for you. There's no her confronting Max, and it just didn't work. It didn't work whatsoever, and I wasn't into the storyline at all. And as much as I like Taylor and Ophi together, I know they're going to break up. I know it's going to happen. But thankfully, it's not the worst stuff in this episode. The worst stuff in this episode is actually with Elizabeth and David. What have they done to these characters? Everything with Elizabeth and David in this episode is all rehashed stuff we have seen before. There is nothing new here. Nothing. Elizabeth and David are now separated, as we know, and they're trying to fix things, and, Elizabeth talks about possibly trying to fix things with David, but the whole time we have Grant now, who Grant in the first season I really liked his character because he had his own storyline. He was actually a pretty interesting character. He wasn't annoying. He wasn't, the annoying little, prick that he's being this season. All he's doing this season is meddling into his parents' relationship. All he's doing is being a dick and being creepy. Like, seriously, all he's doing the whole episode is just complaining and complaining and complaining. And it seems like he's useless now. They have nothing to do with him. And why didn't they just keep him into that plot last season with that really sweet girl in that relationship plot? That was a cute plot. I like where they were going with that. He had that girl to talk to. He had that girl, he had that girl to talk to. He had that, little person he could talk to that was his age. And now it's like, no, let's get Joan to help him. And I don't like that at all. It's like we don't have anything to do with Joan. We want to give Joan more because she's a good actress, which, yeah, Meredith Baxter is a good actress. No shit, she's a good actress. She's in everything. That doesn't mean that it works. The storyline doesn't work at all, and I don't care about it. I don't care that Grant... Okay, I understand last episode, when Grant was kind of jealous of Taylor and Cara because, they know all this stuff and Grant doesn't. I understand that. I understand why Grant, was kind of feeling uncomfortable at that party. But this, Grant just being self-pitying and rude and just saying comments at whatever he is in the room. Like, seriously, the whole episode he's just making comments and he's trying to be like, oh, Dad likes the TA, but I don't like her, da-da-da-da. Like, it's annoying. And it brings the episode down to a whole new level of just annoying. Seriously, it was really annoying. And the worst part of this episode is with Elizabeth and Kyle, because Kyle basically sees that David won't be home. He stops by Elizabeth's house to give her this file that, for no reason whatsoever, we don't know what's in the file, we don't know why he's there, and they almost kiss at the door, which of course Grant witnesses, because that's the kind of show this is now. And basically, she genuinely does want to work things with David. And literally, we hear the same exact line that we hear when Elizabeth tried to start this affair with Kyle last season. You remember how Kyle was like, no, I can't. I have to wait till you're done with David. Well, Elizabeth says the same exact line. She's like, no, I can't. I have David. That is the same exact line as last season, just uttered by a different character. This is not character development. This is rehashing stuff that happened last season. Elizabeth and Kyle already had their little affair. We're done with this. We don't need to continue this. It's boring. It's rehashing things. It's not interesting. There's nothing to do with this. There's nothing that you can do that can make me care about this. Nothing. Because the scene goes nowhere. And she seems like she doesn't really want to fix things now. We know that they're probably going to start off this affair again, and David even talks to Grant about it. Basically, he tells David that he's becoming this Shakespearean comedy misunderstandings, and basically, in response, David asks out the TA. He goes against what Grant says, and he asks out the TA, who's obviously crushing on him, and that's how it ends. What's happened to this show? Seriously, what is happening to this show? And I'm going to explain what the problem is here. Again, the problem is not the storylines, guys. They could be handling all of this very, very well, but it's the way they're handling it all. It just feels like they have nothing to do this season. Nothing. There's nothing to do this season that can make me care about any of these plots. I don't care about Elizabeth and David. I don't care about what happened with Lori. Honestly, Lori was a very good actress, and they gave her this terrible scene. It was terrible acting, honestly. The acting in this episode, was not very good. I didn't like the acting here. There weren't many good moments here. There wasn't a lot of good acting. And I'm going to say again, this is the direction that Finding Carter wants to go in. I'm going to be really pissed, because I've been defending this season. Season 1 was so good. It was in my top 10 shows of 2014. The reason it works was because it avoided these cliches. It wasn't a soap opera show. It was a show about a girl trying to get away from her kidnapper and move on with her life. That's not what this season is. This season is who is with who? Who is in this relationship? Who can we get together? How much can we butcher the show? It just seems like the writers didn't even watch the first season. It seems like we're writing the show. We have no idea what we're doing, but we're going to write it anyway because we're cool like that. And seriously, I didn't even know about the new showrunners. I didn't, but something definitely felt different. I knew that something was different about the season, and here's the thing that the season lacks. Substance. It lacks a purpose. What is the purpose of this season? What is the overall thing that we're going to get to? There's nothing that can happen this season now. Lori's in jail. Carter and Crash are together. Taylor and Ophi are together. Taylor's making Max jealous. Max and Bert are supposedly together. Elizabeth's starting off her affair with Kyle again. And David's with the TA. There's nothing interesting. This is all rehashed stuff. We've seen Elizabeth with Kyle. We've seen Taylor, be jealous of Max. We've seen all this stuff. Get them their own storylines here. We had some good stuff in the first season. Not this soap opera. Finding Carter was never a soap opera. And if it was a good one at least. It didn't have these rehashed plots that were annoying. Honestly, it's really fucking stupid that they're doing this. It really is. And I'm really disappointed. Honestly, guys, it's really disappointing me, and I really don't want to watch this show anymore. Now, this could be that this was a bad episode, but the promo for next season doesn't look for the next episode doesn't look any better. And it looks like all this big crash is just too good to be true, which I won't be surprised about because they're rehashing everything from last season. If they make Crash the same unstable character, then they've completely rehashed everything. And it's just like, we're going in full rehashing mode. That's all it seems like this is. It's rehashed stuff, it's nothing new, it's boring, and it's not what the show should be. Ever. This is not what Finding Carter should be. This is not what the show should be. This is not why I watch this show. It's not. I watch this show because I want good, layered characters. I don't want characters that make stupid decisions. Carter in this episode made a terrible decision. Taylor in this episode made a terrible decision. David made a terrible decision. Everyone in this episode made terrible, awful decisions. And yeah, I get they're not the best characters, but they were never stupid. Carter was never an idiot. Taylor was never some, slut. Bird was never this manipulative bitch that we're seeing. I mean, Bird, you always had problems, but it just isn't working anymore. It's not working, and they totally ruined it. Seriously. I'm reading the comments on here, and people are saying that they didn't know it was so good to make a good show so bad so fast. You guys saw my tweet on Twitter. They just took this from being one of the best shows on TV to being one of the worst shows. And it's just from this episode that is terrible now. I've been defending it. Episode 1 was really great. Episode 2 was good. Episode 3 was fantastic. I was really looking forward to seeing what they would do here. And this is what they're doing. And it's not working. It's not. There's nothing to do this season. And I'm very interested in seeing where they actually take the rest of the season because I don't think there's anything to do now. There's nothing they can do that can actually make me care about this season, and it's really disappointing. But that's it, guys, for my review. Do you guys like this season? I mean, I hated this episode. Honestly, I hated this episode. There was nothing I liked about it. Nothing. There was not a single plot. Do you like what they're doing? Is it rehashing? Are you going to quit the show? I am this close to quitting the show. This close. I don't want to do it because I really like the show, and I'm worried that if I quit, it's going to get really good. But I don't know. I really don't know, guys. Maybe they could do this what Awkward did, where they suddenly make it good again, but this show fucking sucks now. It's not good. It's lacking so much, and it's not good. It's not the show that I loved in the first season. It's shit now. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for another classic mirror review, and I just really want them to fix the show. Really, I do. I really don't want this to be the direction that they take the show in, because I really did love the show, and now they've just, fucked it all up, and it's really, really disappointing.